So you should know the difference between the methods and tool for data collection. Method, how you are going to collect the data. Which method? Observation, questionnaire, or interview schedule. When we are talking about the tools for data collection, whether it is an interview schedule or questionnaire, it's an instrument, okay? It's a printed material. Or what are the some other tools? It may be a opinioner, or it may be a interview guide, which you can use for the in-depth interview or focus group discussion. So it can be an interview guide or checklist that you can have. That's a tool for data collection, right? Based on your requirement, if it is a quantitative study, better you can use the interview schedule or questionnaire, which is a structured one. So participants are requested to mute yourself. And tools for data analysis. So what kind of tools we need to use for the data analysis? That's what we are going to discuss today. And report writing. Finally, we are going to have the report writing. Then, these are all the terms we should know. Let me rush up since we are a little bit delayed. Population. So what do you mean by population? So it's a collection of all individuals or objects or items in your study, right? Usually it's denoted by n. And samples, which it's a part of population which you are selecting for your study. It's denoted by small n. What do you mean by variable? Which varies from person to person, time to time, place to place, right? In research, the characteristics of an individual which is varies, right? So that's what the variable. So what are the types of variable? Independent variable, dependent variable. To understand the statistical test selection, you should know these two types of variables, right? So, and to based on the indicator also. So let's go ahead. So independent variable, which depends on nothing, right? So it doesn't depends on anything. It's an independent variable. For examples, all the socio-demographic variables are independent variable. Age, gender, then your class, whatever it may be. All the socio-demographic variables, it's independent variable, which cannot change by other variable, right? Your income, age, it cannot be changed suddenly, right? So these kind of variables are independent variable. Dependent variables are influenced by some other variable. So I know you are from various discipline. So in your discipline, what you are studying, mainly what you are study focusing on. In your title itself, you can identify what is your dependent variable. For example, I'm trying to identify a study on happiness among the school students. Happiness is my dependent variable. To study the quality of life of the police women. So here, what is that? Quality of life is the dependent variable. So in a research title, surely you will have your variable, most probably your dependent variable and the respondent and the place. So nowadays place are not much important. So, but surely you will have your dependent variable on your study. Whatever you are from various disciplines, surely you will have dependent variable on your study. So check it out. Then another two types of variables are quantitative variable and quantitative variable. So which you can measure, it's a quantitative variable. Which you cannot measure, it's a qualitative variable. And these are all the things basic for the those who are all the budding researchers. For them, I am explaining it. For those who know already, just you can recollect. Okay, this is an important one. Parameter. When you call it as the characteristics of the population is called as a parameter. Statistics. So when you are when you call the characteristics of the sample, it is called as a statistics. So here itself, I would like to give you a hint. So many people they have a doubt. It's like a brilliant order question. So I'm using the census method. I'm not using the sample, right? So I'm taking. See, some people they are using. For an example, I am giving that my population size is 250, right? I have selected all the 250, but I'm using statistics and I'm using hypothesis testing. So how many of you agree with this? Is there anyone? Is it right or wrong? Anybody? So is it? Can you see me slides? All the people? Is it changing or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can
okay
use the mic.
now it's okay.
Yeah, thank you. So I would like to get response from the people. You can unmute yourself and say that. So for the census method, whether you can use statistics or not. So actually you should not. Yeah. So actually you should not use the statistics for the census method for the samples only. If you have 1,000 people, but your population size is 1,000, and you are selecting only 250 people as a sample, then you can go ahead with the statistics. So that you need to understand, and this is the very important thing, my dear friends. So this is very important stage, right? Like once you understand this, the session will be easy to understand, right? So first you should start with the title, right? Um, Whatever it may be your study, you should be very clear about your title, and your objective should be based on your title. So many people, they are not connecting these objective with the title, right? Title is something else, and objective will be talk about something, right? It should not be. That should be a connectivity. I'm talking about happiness, mental health, quality of life, whatever it may be. So political attitude or whatever it may be, what you have in your that dependent variable or variables, that should be reflect in your objective. What you put it in your objective, that should reflect in your questionnaire, right? So what, and your hypothesis should be based on your objective, and two ways you can frame your hypothesis: from the existing review of literature, right, or from the theories. You can develop your hypothesis to test, right? So formulation of hypothesis, that should be based on the objective. The, that hypothesis, there are two types of hypothesis. There are many types of hypotheses are there, and when we are talking about the testing of hypothesis, two important types are there. One is null hypothesis, which can be tested statistically. So whenever you are using the statistical test, you should compare only with null hypothesis. Don't compare with alternative hypothesis. So I have seen some thesis. So even the scholars, they are comparing with the results, p values, they are comparing with the alternative hypothesis. Surely you will end up with the wrong interpretation. So that's why we are conducting this session. You should connect only with null hypothesis, right? Let's move on to the next. Then questionnaire and data collection. You should develop the questionnaire to test your hypothesis. You should develop your questionnaire based on the objective and go ahead for the data collection. Then hypothesis testing. How to do that? You need to enter all the data, and we can go for the analysis. So how to analyze the data? What kind of test I have to use? So that's what we are going to discuss today, right? So selection of appropriate statistical test. So we need to select the appropriate statistical test. How to do that? So we will discuss by today. So carry out the statistical test, then interpretation. So based on the result, you need to interpret. Yep. So types of data. So the language of research is nothing but data, right? The language of research is nothing but data. So without data, you cannot do research. Even it is a qualitative, quantitative mixed methodology. Without data, you cannot do research. So the language of data is, language of research is data. So you need to understand the data very clearly. So there are two types of data is there: qualitative and quantitative. So same thing you can use in a different terms, right? So the quantitative data, here in the level of measurement, we call it as a categorical data, right? The another one type is quantitative. So quantitative, in other words, you call it as a numerical. So the broader types of classification of data is categorical data and numerical data. Again, further classification, the level of measurement, we call it as a level of measurement. How you are going to measure? What is the level, right? So level of measurement is the categorical. Again, we split into two categories: nominal and ordinal. And numerical, again, we split into two categories: interval and ratio. So this is our split up, right? So the level of measurement, four level of measurement is there. But if you are an expert in SPSS, you may ask one question: sir, I can find only three categories or three items in the types of label or data in SPSS. Yes, that's true. Nominal, ordinal, and scale. They don't bother about interval or ratio. They consider as a scale measurement. If it is a number, that's it. So to make it clear, it's very simple. Don't feel afraid of these kind of terms. If it is an alphabet, right, A, B, C, D, something kind of, then it's a categorical, most probably, mostly, right? And numerical, if it is a number, It's a numerical. Okay. So for an example, age, it's a number, it's a numerical, right? So quality of life, 70 percentage, 80, right? IQ level 70, it comes under the numerical. Why I said most probably because serial number, it is a number. It doesn't mean that it's a numerical, it's a categorical. Do you understand? So you should be very clear. You should understand the meaning of categorical and numerical, right? So that is very, very important. So categorical means only classification is possible. You can classify, right? Numerical means it will be number. You can measure it, right? So nominal, ordinal, interval ratio. What is that? So let's check this. So categorical variables split into two, nominal and ordinal. What do you mean by nominal level of measurement? To understand what kind of statistics you have to use, you have to understand these first. So nominal level of measurement. If your variable. So before that, I would like to show you something. Sir, you are talking about all these things. Where it comes from? It comes from your own variable. See, it's a questionnaire, right? It's questionnaire of a student, and you should have your title and informed consent, all those things. And here, it's an important thing. Profile of the respondent, socio-demographic details are profile of the respondent. So whatever it may be your discipline, I know you are from different discipline, whatever it may be your discipline, surely you will have your questionnaire or interview schedule or whatever it may be. Most probably we are talking about, since we are talking about statistics, we are talking about quantitative research. If you are from qualitative school of thought, that will be a different cases, right? So here we are talking about mostly quantitative research or including survey. Survey is the basic level of the basic statistics you will use in the survey research. Little bit advanced researchers in quantitative research, you will use the statistics. I will explain what is the difference or what is the connectivity between these two, right? So come to the point. Imagine you have a questionnaire. In your questionnaire, surely you have this two divisions, right? So social demographic details and the study details or dependent variable details or questions related to dependent variable. So first, profile of the respondent, age, education, marital status, number of children, type of family, place, domicile, designation, and family income, everything. It comes under the profile. Here you can see another term called burnout. What do you mean by burnout? So in this study, burnout is the level of burnout is the dependent variable. So you will use some statements and capture the level using some Likert scale. If you are using these kind of measurement, surely your study is falling under the quantitative research, right? So keep it in your mind. Sometime you will have some these kind of questions. The simple research, right? So like a survey research, only multiple multiple choice questions, right? You will try to capture some answers, right? So if you stop this much, sometime it will also fall under the category of survey research or quantitative research. You can call it in any way. Most probably like a survey research, right? If it is a case, how to do the analysis. So most probably it won't come in terms of the higher order statistics, but lower statistic like frequency, mean, standard deviation, so all these things, if it is a number, that you can use it. So come to the point. We are talking about, when you are talking about statistics and hypothesis testing, surely you should have the measurable variable. Then you can go ahead for the hypothesis testing. Even without that, even using the categorical variable also, you can go ahead like a lower order statistics that we will explain. So even if you have these kind of simple responses, for that also you can go ahead for the statistics like chi-square, that non-parametric test, you can go ahead, right? So we will check it out. Come to the point. So for that, nominal level of measurement. What do you mean by nominal level of measurement? What are all the variables you have in, what are the questions you have in your variable? Let me put it in that way. What are the questions you have in your questionnaire? Everything is a variable. Please understand, my dear friends. If you don't want some questions, don't keep it in your questionnaire. What are the questions you have in your questionnaire? Everything is important. It should be important. Otherwise, don't waste your time and the time of your respondent. Right? So what are the questions you have or statements in your questionnaire? Everything, each and everything is a variable. Each and everything you can classify in this 4 level. If you feel difficult with this 4 level, at least you have to categorize into at least 2 level, categorical or numerical. That much is enough to go ahead for the further research, I mean selection of statistics. Yes, come to the point. Nominal level of measurement. What do you mean by nominal level of measurement? So only classification is possible, right? So only classification. Let's say sex or gender, male, female. We are classifying the variable into two attributes. That is called as the attributes in technical term. So what do you mean by that? Attribute, right? The categories of a variable. So here two categories there. It's a mutually exclusive categories. So don't bother about that mutually exclusive. That should not be overlapping. That's what mutually exclusive. That should be two different, right? So only classification is possible. You cannot give any hierarchy. You cannot give any ranking. Then it's a nominal level of measurement. So we cannot say that male are higher than the female or female are higher than the male. We cannot say that both are equal, right? So there is no hierarchy. Religion, we cannot make the list or hierarchy. All the religion are equal, right? So that's a nominal level of measurement. Only classification is possible. Ordinal level of measurement. In this measurement, which means a variable, you want to say that this variable are ordinal in nature, then there should be a rank order. Rank order should be there. What is that rank order? So lowerness or higherness than the response, education. So we can say that 10th, 12th, UG, PG. So 12th, when compared with 10th, it's higher. So there will be a hierarchy, right? So PG, UG, in the descending order, UG, PG, UG, then 12th, 10th. That's a hierarchy, rank order, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's called as the education, right? In the education variable, it's a ordinal in nature. Since we can give some ranking, some rank order, it's ordinal in nature, right? For your understanding and for some higher order statistics, you may need this clear-cut classification. Otherwise, simply you can memorize as a categorical data. That much is enough, right? Let's move on to the next one, interval level of measurement. So IQ and level of awareness. So these kind of what is that? This kind of variable, okay? This kind of variable, what level of measurement? It's an example for interval. So what do you mean by interval? Equal spaced continuum will be there. So gap between 8 and 9 is equivalent to the 76 and 77. There is a gap with one number, one integer gap is there, right? So equal continuum. Imagine height and weight. In centimeter, height in centimeter there is a equal space, right? And even in weight also, in kilogram, there will be a equal space. So if it is as a equal space, that is an interval, right? And ratio. What do you mean by ratio? You know the basic meaning of ratio, right? 1 times. It's a 2 times of 2 times greater than another one. See, for example, 1:2 is equal to 4:8. Both are equal, right? So, but what is the difference between the interval and ratio? How to identify the difference between interval and ratio? The real 0 is present, which means the value for 0 is present in ratio, but in interval that is not. For an example, people with IQ level or level of awareness 0, it's impossible. At least a few IQ level, surely they will have, right? Then it is the interval level of measurement. When you are trying to measuring like a tape or kind of thing, interval kind of thing, surely there is no meaning for 0. At least some numbers will come, right? For an example, height and weight of a human being, it cannot be 0, right? So at least some height will be there. Even the born baby, right? So that's the thing. It's an interval. Ratio means there is a meaning for 0. Number of children, it can be 0 for the newly married people, right? So then any other thing, the 0 has its own meaning, right? That kind of variables comes under the ratio level of measurement. So number of villages affected by tsunami. So if you calculated Some in some district it can be zero, right? So number of district affected by natural calamities in Tamil Nadu, so it can be zero in India. So you can identify some numbers, right? So it can be zero also. Yes. So what is a possible arithmetic operation if it is a, if that variable a nominal variable, only counting is possible, right? Then ordinal variable, you can say that it's greater than or less than. Then interval variable, addition and subtraction. So ratio means multiplication and division. So based on this, we will suggest some statistical tests. So don't worry about this. Let's move on to the next one. So this is nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. Nominal means only named variables. Some name we are giving for the classification. Ordinal means name plus rank order will be there. Interval means name, order plus proportionate interval between the variables, means equal interval between the variable. Ratio means the value absolute zero has the meaning in ratio. In interval, there is no meaning for absolute zero, right? These are all the some other examples, right? Gender, male, female, only classification. It's a nominal. Then ordinal means some Likert scale and other scales are there, no? Like low, high. There is a hierarchy, right? Low, medium, high. There is a rank order, right? These are all the examples for the, what is that, ordinal level of measurement. Then scale variable. You can call it as a numerical, or if you want to know the classification, IQ level cannot be zero, right? Income can be zero. For the elderly people, if they are not earning anything, income can be zero, right? It has a meaning. Zero income, it has a meaning, right? So that's what. Yes, let's do some exercise. At least if you answer, some people, if you answer, that would be better for us. Age in completed years. So, is it a what kind of categorical or numerical? Anybody? Categorical or numerical?
Category.
Yes. Yeah. Age. Thank you so much for your answer. So, how you handle the age? So, based on that, we can call it as a categorical or numerical. See, for an example, 5 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20. If you keep it age like this, then categorical. But here we have given a individual numbers 5, 10, 20. If it is the case, it's a numerical, right? It falls under the numerical. Again within numerical, whether it is an interval or ratio, it's a difficult question. Most probably, it falls under the interval level of measurement, but surely these series, it won't comes under the categorical, it won't comes under nominal or ordinal. Surely it comes under the interval or ratio. Okay. Sex, male and female, what level of measurement, if possible? So respondent can put in chat box or you can answer. Yes.
Nominal, sir.
Yes, thank you. Nominal. So socio-economic status, low, medium, high, what level of measurement?
Ordinal.
Yes.
Ordinal, sir.
Anybody?
Ordinal?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's a ordinal level of measurement because low, medium, high. Some rank order is there, some hierarchy is there. It's a, what is that? It's an ordinal level of measurement. Thank you. So I have given one more tips for all of you. Do you remember that? If it is an alphabet, it's a categorical variable. So first you should identify whether it is a categorical or numerical. Again, within categorical, what is it? Whether it has only classification or rank order. Rank order means ordinal. Only classification means nominal. Right? If it is numerical, imagine that whether it can be 0 or not. If it can be 0, then ratio. It cannot be 0, then interval. So that is the tips you need to remember. Yeah. Thank you for your answer. Let's move on to the next one. Age. Age, if you classify as young, adult, old, what level of measurement? Anybody? Age, what level of measurement? Yes, ordinal. Thank you.
Ordinal.
Level of IQ? 543. Yeah. Age is ordinal. Thank you. Now we move on to the level of IQ. 543. Kind of. Yes, thank you. It's an interval level of measurement. Why it is? See, first, whether it is numerical or categorical, it is numerical. Since it's a number, it's a numerical, right? Again, Whether the value can be 0 or not, I told you already, IQ cannot be 0. So it will be a, what is that?
Interval.
Interval.
Ratio.
Yes, interval level of measurement. Interval or ratio. Yeah, actually, it cannot be ratio because 0 has no meaning. IQ cannot be 0. So here, it cannot be ratio. It's an interval. One more tips I can give you. What mostly interval means it will be a continuum. See, imagine that IQ, how they have the measurement 5 to 7, 5 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 45, some equal continuum they might have, right? And so it will be in interval level of measurement. One more tips I would like to give you. In some cases, you might have the classification of level of IQ in this manner. For an example, what is it? Low, moderate, severe, profound. Low, moderate, severe, profound. What level of measurement? Anybody?
Ordinal.
Low, moderate, severe, profound. Exactly. So that's our ordinal.
Ordinal.
Yes, thank you. Then size of the village. So I told you already. So size of the village, since it's anybody, let me add some value for this. So size of the village in terms of number of polio cases
Interval.
affected. What level of measurement? Number of polio cases.
Interval.
Ratio.
Okay. Yes, it's numerical. Among the numerical, what level of measurement? Yes, it's a ratio because it's a real value for the 0. The value of 0 can be present, right? So size of the village can be 0 for many questions, right? Like polio cases affected. So number of what is that? Anything. Number of educated people or uneducated people. Sorry for using that word. So number of people study below 5. So if you come across those kind of questions, it can be 0. The value can be 0, right? So depends on the cases. It can be interval also. I repeat again, size of the village, it can be interval also. If it depends on the question what we are setting, right? Before the size of the village. So depends on that, it will change. So no problem. Let me show again. Keep it in your mind. Nominal. Before that, keep it in your mind. Categorical and numerical. At least you should remember this. Okay. Once you remember this, it will be easy. Yes, let's move on to the hypothesis. So hypothesis, it's nothing but I will make a link between hypothesis testing and what you have learned. Don't worry about it. So hypothesis testing, it's a tentative statement which can be put to test. According to Karl Popper, who is a pioneer or who developed the null hypothesis. He contributed to the term null hypothesis, and he is the person who suggested or who developed how to test hypothesis. So for your understanding, I am telling this. So Karl Popper, he is the pioneer of hypothesis testing. And how to test hypothesis? He is the person to test anything like hypothesis testing. First nullify the concept. Just say that it is not there. No relationship, no association, no relationship. Make a statement like this as a null hypothesis and try to find out some evidences. You cannot find the evidence. If it is the truly relationship is there, you cannot find the relationship. I mean, you cannot find the data for supporting this null hypothesis. Then what you can do? You can reject this null. No. There is, if you are saying that no relationship, we are rejecting that. We are saying that no, there is a relationship. Like that we will say. Right? So first you are saying that nullifying the concept and trying to find out the solid evidences. You cannot find the evidence. Then you can say that no, you are wrong. Null hypothesis is wrong and there is a relationship. That is a method of testing hypothesis. So if you feel complicated, don't worry about it. I will give you some benchmark, like what value you need to compare. If it is less than, agree. If it is greater than, don't agree. So like that, some simple benchmark is there. So don't worry about the hypothesis testing, we will discuss. Then alternative hypothesis. And again, alternative hypothesis, there are two types. One type, two type. So one type means it will give you some direction, like male have higher level, female have higher level. Two type means it's a neutral kind of things. Yeah, and conditions of hypothesis. You should know the conditions of hypothesis, right? So minimum two variables should be there. if you are saying that you have a hypothesis, imagine that you are developing a hypothesis. Some people develop a hypothesis with only one variable. They are really great, but absolutely wrong. It cannot be, right? So if you are saying that it's a hypothesis, you should have to minimum two variable. I'm saying that minimum two variable. It can be three or four also. It can be. So minimum two variable should be there. Variable should be definable and measurable. Why these terms are coming like this? Definable. If it is a categorical, it's definable. If it is a numerical, then measurable. So your hypothesis can contain any kind of variable, right? And it should have the existing relationship between the variable. There should be existing relationship between the variable when you are when you call it as a hypothesis. And relationship should be tested empirically and statistically. If you are saying that you develop a hypothesis, it should be or it should be developed, it should be tested empirically or statistically. If you develop a hypothesis which cannot be tested, you cannot call it as a hypothesis, right? The type of hypothesis, you can develop many different kind of hypotheses. There are plenty of hypotheses there. If you go through, that is the beauty of research and the difficulties in research also. You cannot confine. This is like that. You cannot confine. There are different types of hypotheses there, like descriptive hypothesis, which describe or explain the relationship, and the relational hypothesis. It talks about the relationship between the variable, only relationship, and causal hypothesis, which will tell you the cause and effect, which is the reason for what. So causal effect. Then working hypothesis when you are doing research, and null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis that we discussed already. Then statistical hypothesis, which talks about the numbers kind of things. Common sense hypothesis, which is basic. And complex hypothesis, it should have more than two variables. Analytical hypothesis, so which talks about the relationship kind of analysis. You don't need to know all the hypotheses, but at least you should know two hypotheses, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, and you should know how to test the hypothesis. So before that, you should know how to develop a hypothesis, right? You might be from various disciplines, but this is a very common phenomena, very basic phenomena to develop a hypothesis. To develop a hypothesis, please take two variables, one from independent, one from dependent. Okay, so listen my words: one from independent, one from dependent, or both can be dependent, but it should not be both from the independent. For example, hypothesis testing, you won't compare age and the sex. Okay, it's a meaningless. To test the hypothesis, you should connect one from independent, one from dependent, or both from the dependent variable. Okay, that's a basic understanding we should have. Let's get into that. What do you mean by null hypothesis? So there is no relationship between two variables. You are stating that no relationship between two variables, or there is a lack of information to state a scientific hypothesis. You don't have a basic information to state that this is the information, this influence this, there is a relationship. If you are unable to say that, simply you can go ahead with the null hypothesis, right? There is something to attempt to disprove or discredit, right? We are trying to say that there is no relationship. See, look at the example. There is no relationship between mental health and happiness. There is no relationship between mental health and happiness. Mental health is one variable, happiness is another variable. There are two variables. Based on your discipline, you can have two variables like this for your study, and you can create your own null hypothesis. So once the session over, please try to write a null hypothesis. Even now you can try, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me once the session will be over, right? An alternative hypothesis. So the researcher believes there is a relationship between two variables. Okay, this is something to attempt to prove. Okay, we are trying to prove something, which means you have some direction. There is a significant relationship between mental health and happiness. So this is the alternative hypothesis for the null hypothesis, which we already prepared. Okay, and you may ask me, like, again, it's $1 billion question. Why? Many researchers or PhD scholars, they have a doubt that whether I can use the null hypothesis or alternative hypothesis. Even when I was a PhD scholar, I have that doubt. So, but I come to the conclusion when I attended many conferences. So I came to the conclusion. So many experts they are suggesting that you should go ahead with the alternative hypothesis. Why? You are doing quantitative research because you have already strong theoretical background or strong literature background. Then only you will go for the quantitative research. Then only you will go ahead with the hypothesis formation, right? If already existing literature there, surely it will give you some direction, right? So you should have the directional or alternative hypothesis, which will give you the exact relationship between the variable. So there is a significant relationship between the mental health and happiness. So in your study, I suggest or experts suggesting that you can go ahead with the alternative hypothesis. That is very, very important. So alternative hypothesis are better in your thesis, you can have it. It doesn't mean that you should not keep a null hypothesis. Depends on the need, you can keep, right? It depends on the review of literature. It depends on the what kind of research you are using. For an example, research, exploratory research, mostly you should not have hypothesis. For descriptive, sometimes you can have the null hypothesis, sometimes alternative. When you are go ahead with the other research design, right, like explanatory, diagnostic, quasi-experimental, experimental, better you can go ahead with the alternative hypothesis. Right. Let's look into the some other models of hypothesis also. There is no relationship between age and level of burnout. Right. There are two variables. Yes, the conditions apply, age and the level of burnout. Existing relationship between that. If you study the review of literature, this is one way. And another one, assistant professors have a higher level of peer relationship than associate professor and professor. Yes, this is another one hypothesis. How to frame hypothesis? So I will give you a little more example once you go ahead with another slides. Okay. Yes, hypothesis. This is another one hypothesis. There is no difference between male and female regarding their level of burnout. Some people are writing there is no difference between gender and level of burnout. It's wrong. You should not. See, there are three types of writing hypothesis. The basic types. Okay, so don't. It might be more, but the basic types of three types. Okay, so one is using the word. There are three words are very very important. One word is association. Another one word relationship. Another one word significant difference. These are all the three words you can use it based on the statistics. I mean, based on the nature of level of measurement, you can use it. So I will explain that a little later after a few minutes. Yeah. So most people you want how to test the hypothesis. It's not it is not a kind of magic thing. It's very simple, few steps. Okay. Whatever it may be your hypothesis, whether it can be alternative, complex, whatever it may be. First, convert into null hypothesis. It's very simple. You should, for testing a hypothesis, you should convert it into null hypothesis, right? You know that. No relationship, no association, or no significant difference. It should come like this. State null hypothesis. Then, select an appropriate statistical test. So, which is the core area of today's session, right? That will come in 5 minutes, don't worry. Fix the level of significance. So what is that level of significance? If you have the confidence level 95% and allowing 5% error. In social sciences, we are allowing 5% error. That means the level of significance is 0.05, which means 5 divided by 100. 5% error can be allowable, right? So 5 divided by 100, 0.05. So my level of significance will be 0.05 when we are talking about the social science researchers. If you are from the pure sciences, so people from other disciplines like physics, chemistry, those people, it will be 0.001 level of significance, right? That should be that much. What is that? Accuracy of result they should have, right? That confidence that much they should have. So for the pure sciences, it will be different case. But for our science, alpha value can be 0.05. That much is enough. 0.05. Please keep it in your mind. Come to the next one. Come to the test statistics. Using the SPSS, you can do it in an easy manner, right? Then make a decisions regarding the acceptance or rejection of null hypothesis. So how to test the hypothesis or how to announce the result? You will get some results in the SPSS, right? Some p value you will get it, right? P value or SIG value, which means significant value. You will get it in the SPSS. Okay. So you have to compare that p-value with the 0.05. What is that 0.05? It is not a magic number. I have given explanation already. The level of significance for social sciences is 5%, right? 0.05. So you are comparing with 0.05. If it is less than 0.05, rejecting the null hypothesis. So null hypothesis is saying that no relationship. So if it is 0.0, less than 0.05, there is a relationship, there is the association, there is a significant difference. That's it. So keep it in your mind. If it is less than 0.05, you agree, right? You can agree with the, there is a relationship. If it is greater than 0.05, no relationship, no association. We are accepting the null hypothesis, right? That you need to remember. This is the simple steps for the testing of hypothesis. You are develop a null hypothesis or whatever it may be your hypothesis, converting into null hypothesis, selecting an appropriate statistical test, then go ahead with the level of significance, just note it down, compute the statistics or using the SPSS, then you can announce the result. Yes, there is a relationship like that. Fine. So now I am going to tell you the data analysis. There are data analysis using SPSS. First, you need to enter the data. Data cleaning is very, very important, but most of the time we are not doing it. Checking the normality. You need to check the normality, because if your data is having the normality, then you have to go ahead with the parametric test. If your data doesn't fit into the normality, you have to go for the non-parametric test. Unfortunately, countries like India, we are not checking the normality, and simply blindly we are using the parametric test like t-test, ANOVA, whatever it may be, right? It should not be. You have to check the normality properly. If there is a normality, then you can go ahead with the parametric. Otherwise, you should go ahead with the non-parametric test. Okay. So hypothesis should be analyzed using the, these are all the types of analysis, like univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, multivariate analysis. Right? These are all the three types. Let me give you example. So these are all the type of results what you can produce, like summarization of data and associational statistics, test of hypothesis, multivariate analysis. These are all the things are there. How to use it? Let me give you some tips. First one, univariate analysis. So what do you mean by univariate analysis? Using a single variable, you are going to do the analysis, right? So using the single variable, you are going to do the analysis. First one, your data is a categorical data, right? Your data is a categorical data. For an example, imagine that, what is that categorical data? I hope everybody listening. Yes, thank you. So your data is a categorical data. Let me check it out from here. Age, there is no answer, which means it will capture in numbers. I don't want. I want categorical. Imagine you have a variable like this. You have a statement like this in your questionnaire, right? What I have to do? What kind of analysis I can do it? Only single variable, socio-demographic variable. Only single variable I am taking. What type of analysis I have to use? Simply you can go ahead with the frequency distribution, right? For the categorical data. For the categorical data, two things. You can zoom if you want to. Right? Yes. Yeah. Univariate analysis, if you have only single variable, hypothesis testing is not necessary, but you can do the few things. Like this is for the beginners. In your research, surely you will have this kind of analysis. Univariate analysis, if you have a single variable, that variable is a categorical in nature. For an example, what is that? Just now we have seen marital status, married, unmarried. Then frequency distribution is enough. You can, for the socio-demographic variables, mostly you have to apply univariate analysis. So frequency distribution means frequency table, that is enough. Graphical representation, graphical display like bar chart, pie chart. So all those things you can have. If your data is numerical, for an example, age is a numerical. There is no answer, which means numbers, right? Income, number of children. These are all the things comes under the numerical level of measurement. So if it is a numerical, it means interval ratio, whatever it may be. If it is a numerical, then you can apply the statistics, the basic level of statistics, measures of central tendency, mean, median, mode, measures of dispersion like standard deviation, measures of skewness and kurtosis, right? And graphical display like line chart, you can do it. Now, this is the key for today's session, bivariate analysis. So, how to select the appropriate test, right? Based on the variable in your hypothesis, you need to select your test. First, you have a hypothesis which has the independent variable and dependent variable. You call in that, for an example, I will give you an example. There is an association between gender and the level of burnout. So here gender also two category, male, female. Level of burnout also two category, low, high. Okay. Then you have to write a hypothesis. Please understand, my dear friends. You have two variable in a hypothesis. The hypothesis is there is no association between gender and level of burnout. So here gender, two attributes, male and female, and level of burnout also low, high. It's an ordinal level of measurement or categorical. So categorical versus categorical. What test I have to use? It's a non-parametric test, chi-square test. You have to use, right? This is the secret, right? And you can check thorough any kind of thesis. It should be like this. Go to the hypothesis. For what hypothesis? What test they have used, or what variable they are comparing, what test they are using. It's like a formula. Nobody can override or overlap this formula. They should go like this, right? So you can write a hypothesis based on this. So based on this only you will write the hypothesis, or in other it's like a vice versa. So based on the based on the hypothesis only you should come over here. But unfortunately we don't have the clarity on it. So better once you understand this, you can write the hypothesis. For an example, see the word relationship. In the second line, see the word relationship. Independent variable, dependent variable, both are in numbers. You have to use the word relationship. You have to use the word relationship, right? Let me give you an example. See, I frame a hypothesis. Read this hypothesis, null hypothesis. There is no relationship between age and the level of burnout. Age, it's in number. Level of burnout, it's in number. So what test I have to use? I put it in the bracket, correlation. Why correlation? It's a null hypothesis, and in this null hypothesis, two variables is there. One is age, another one is the level of burnout. So there are two variables. Both variables are numerical in nature, or in some books they will say metric in nature. Both variables are metric in nature. Hence, I have to use the word in the hypothesis itself, relationship. See, some people they are very much, if you say that I am very much advanced and I don't want to use this static word, like any same word in everything, then you can go ahead with, like, you can write the same hypothesis in a different terms, like age influences burnout, right? Age increases, level of burnout also increases. You can write in that manner also, but simply try to understand the basic concept. If it is a number, you should write a word, there is no relationship. If it is both in category, you can say that no association. There is no association between gender and the level of burnout. If level of burnout in the category, okay. So that is the thing. Now come to the point. So association over, relationship over. Now come to the point. Significant difference. When we have to use the word significant difference, right? You need to understand. So many people you may have done the t-test without knowing the meaning. Why did you use the t-test? Here is the meaning, right? Independent variable has a two attributes or two category, right? Gender, two category, male, female, right? Marital status, married or unmarried. In the independent variable, you have two category. In the dependent variable, it is a number, measurable. Then you have to go for the t-test, okay? And for the t-test, how the hypothesis can be written? For an example. Yeah, this is the example for the t-test. Have a look at it. there is no difference between male and female regarding the level of burnout. There are two variables, male and female, which means gender is one variable. Don't make confused that male one variable, female no, it's attributes. It comes under only one variable called gender or sex. Okay, so there are two variables. One is gender, another one is level of burnout. So I hope you can, all of you can follow me. Follow me. So I will ask questions in the next slide. Okay. So come to the point. Here two variable is there. Independent variable is gender. It's a categorical. Dependent variable is numerical. Level of burnout. It's a numerical or measurable or metric in nature. So you have to use the t-test. It's very simple because it talks about the significant difference, which means nothing but mean difference. What is the mean value of male for burnout and females burnout mean value? Mean value means average, right? The burnout, the average burnout for male, average burnout for the female, whether it is significantly differ or not, right? That's what our finding. Happiness, whether male are more happy or female are more happy. Try to develop a scale, right? Collect the data for the happiness. What is the average score for the happiness for the male? Average score for the female. For an example, male are getting, how can we say, 70% they are happy, right? Female are getting 50%, 70, 50. By seeing itself, you can say that, yeah, male have the higher level of happiness. But in statistics, it should not be. You should test statistically. If it come with this much difference, you will find out. I will ask you one more question. Male are having 70, female are having 68, right? Then it is difficult. Then that's why people are saying like hypothetical question, which you cannot answer easily. Without solid evidence, you cannot answer. 70, 68. You may think that it is not significantly different or it is significantly different. Both are wrong. By collect the data for your study, for your respondent, whether it is significant or not, which means significant difference or not, you have to use the t-test. Okay, that is important. Some people they write in this way. There is no difference between gender and burnout. You should not like. You should not write like this. Either the first method or the second method. What is the alternative hypothesis? There is a significant difference between, there is a significant difference. Instead of no, you can put yeah. There is a significant difference between male and female regarding their level of burnout. You can write that way. Or another way, alternative hypothesis, female employees have a higher level of burnout than the male. You can write this way also. Another one method, instead of female, you can put it like male. Male employees have a higher level of burnout than the male. I mean female. See, there are different methods, but this is the basic, right? Basic skeleton are same. You can put it in different ways, right? So that you can do it. Depends on your review of literature or depends on the, what is that? Theoretical support, right? So that is important. Let's move on. Yes, yes sir, t-test is over. Insignificant difference, another one test is there, which is called as a one-way ANOVA. What is that one-way ANOVA? If you have more than two attributes in your categorical, I mean in your independent variable, which means religion or caste or any other education, it has more than two categories in the independent variable. And comparing with the dependent variable, what test you need to use? One-way ANOVA you have to use. See, you can go and check with your seniors, your friends, whatever it may be. They may have done already research. Go and check it out whether they have used the proper variables or not, right? They might compare education with the happiness or quality of life, whatever it may be. So whether they, for the one-way ANOVA, the conditions are getting fulfilled or not, you can check it out. If it doesn't fulfill, they are wrong, right? But you should remember one more thing. Imagine income. Income can be income comparing with the quality of life. Both are in number. Then it will comes under the correlation. You are checking relationship. Suppose income, if they are asking in a categorical variable, right? 10,000 to 20,000, 21,000 to 30,000, 31,000 to 40,000. If it is in category, they should use the ANOVA. See, income is same. How they are splitting up, how they are collected the data. Based on that, you have to change the statistical test, change the hypothesis. Even the way of writing hypothesis also should be different. If it is an income is a number relationship, there is a relationship between the income and the happiness. If it is in category, there is no significant difference based in the happiness of the respondents based on the level of income. That's it, right? So based on the level of measurement or based on the nature of the variable, you have to change the test also. How you collected the data, that is very very important. So while you cross verify the people, please be careful. So now I would like to ask questions from the participants. So if you answer, I will be more happy. Yes. Whether it is right or wrong, don't bother about that. We are in the learning stage and there is no recording. So don't worry about it. Yes. So the second hypothesis. Assistant professors have higher level of peer relationship than associate professor and professor. So please put it in the chat box. I want at least minimum 10 responses. So how many variables are there? How many variables are there in this hypothesis? I'm asking the question again. How many variables? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many variables? So the organizer, if there is the answer from other chats also, you can inform me if possible. In final, even in the question sections also. Yes. So it can be 3. And other people, you can put it in the chat box. I received only one response. So I won't move on if you don't answer. So I guess all are
Sir, in
busy.
the
That's
other
okay.
meets, people have
Group they
answered
answer.
as 1, 3
Okay.
and all.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So people are very much, as a keen observer, they are only observing rather than typing. It's okay. Thank you one and all. Yeah. So let me answer for the question. Let me ask the question first for your understanding. In the second hypothesis, how many variables are there? I'm not talking about attributes. How many variables are there? Assistant professors have higher level of peer relationship than associate professor and professor, right? So here only 2 variables are there, okay? So that I mentioned in the color also for your understanding. Assistant professor, associate professor, professor. It all comes under only one category, which is designation. What is your designation? Okay, or what is your uh, job? Okay, so for that we have 3 attributes. Okay, so it comes under only one variable, and another one variable level of peer relationship. So here we have only 2 variables. One is level of peer relationship. Another one is the type of job, or you can say that designation. So whether you are assistant professor or associate professor or professor. So here we have 2 variables. So we are comparing 2 variables. In the independent variable designation, we have 3 attributes. So more than 2 attributes, and dependent variable, it is a numerical. If it is a numeric, then we have to use the ANOVA, right? So let's check whether you are check the fourth one. In categorical, more than 2 category or more than 2 attributes. Dependent variable, it is a number, one way ANOVA. Yeah. Now I would like to tell you why another one column is available. So many people you may get confused. Yeah. Why? I have clearly mentioned that parametric test, non-parametric test. So these are all the things we randomly use parametric, right? We assume that we have the normality. If your data doesn't fulfill the assumptions called normality, you should go ahead with the non-parametric test. Default chi-square test falls under the category of non-parametric. Okay, but other cases, if you are doing the correlation, please check carefully whether your data fulfill the assumptions called normality. If it is fulfilled, go ahead with the call Pearson or to check the correlation. Otherwise, you can check the correlation using the Spearman's row, which is called as a Spearman's rank correlation.
Excuse
We
me, sir.
denote it as a row. Yes.
So can you explain that second hypothesis once again?
Yeah. So So here, you can look at the first one. So here, we can start from here itself. So there is no relationship between mental health and happiness. How many variable is there? Mental health is one variable, happiness is another one variable. Maybe this might be different from your people, your domain, so it might be difficult to understand. And in your domain also, you can create hypotheses like this, the way of writing hypothesis, right? There is a significant relationship between mental health and happiness, two variables. Check the first variable, first hypothesis. There is no relationship between age and burnout. Age is one variable, burnout is another one variable. There are two variables. Go ahead with the next one. Assistant professors, this is another one way of writing the hypothesis. If you check here, there is no difference between male and female regarding their level of burnout. You should not count like male is one variable, female is one variable, burnout is one variable. No. Male and female, they are comes under the category of sex or gender. Okay, that is called only one variable, which is called sex or gender. Another one variable, level of burnout. So there are two variable are here. Okay, like that. In this also, second hypothesis, associate professor have a higher level of peer relationship than associate professor and professor. Here, only two variable is there. You should not get confused by seeing that assistant, associate, all those things. All these professors categories comes under the variable name called the designation. Okay, so that is the thing we have written in a different manner. Okay, this can be write in another way also. Let me explain. If you want, like in your thesis, if you want to write in a different manner, there is no significant difference in the level of peer relationship of the respondents based on their designation. There is no significant difference in the level of peer relationship of the respondent based on their designation, based on their gender, based on their marital status. Like that you can write. This is another one way of writing hypothesis. So surely you will have minimum two variables. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Since time by thinking of the time, let's move further. Right. Don't worry, I will complete within 5 minutes. So already I have taken all your time. It's up to 9 o'clock. Yes, come to the point. Sometimes many people may use cause and effect relationship or diagnostic research design or explanatory research design. If you are using the cause and effect relationship, again there is assumptions like both the variables should be metric in nature, should be number in nature, then you can go ahead with the regression. So I put it in another way. Many people they are doing regression, or many scholars or whatever it may be, people are I want regression, I want ANOVA. So without thinking about what kind of variable you have, what kind of study you are doing, people are thinking in that way. My supervisor told me to put 10 ANOVA. Let me go ahead with 10 ANOVA. Please don't do that. You are violating the norms, you are violating the statistical rules. And one more thing, surely if your thesis will go to uh, the evaluator who know the statistics, surely you will get caught. Okay, it will be your thesis will be in danger. So please, based on your variable, based on your study, what demands, go ahead with the particular statistical test. Don't do it the unwanted test. Okay, since you know that, it doesn't mean that apply in your research. Based on your variable, you can do it, right? Cause and effect relationship. See, if your study demands what are the variable influencing my dependent variable, happiness, so mental health, age. So what are the variable influencing the happiness? If I want to check it out, I can go ahead with the regression. But there is a condition. All the independent variable should be numeric. Dependent variable should be in numeric. One more hint for you. In regression, only one dependent variable is permitted. You cannot use more than one dependent variable. So please understand that. So come to the point. Other non-parametric. See, your hypothesis met your variable met the assumptions that what variable? Your dependent variable meet the assumptions of normality. Only dependent variable, not independent variable. Only dependent variable, you can check the normality. If normality is there, you can go ahead t-test, otherwise manual t-test. Another one test called PERD t-test is there, right? Pre and post difference. Whether pre-test have the difference between the post-test, right? Then you have to go for the PERD t-test. The equivalent test for the PERD t-test, non-parametric test, is the Wilcoxon test. Okay, that is another one thing. Then 1 way ANOVA, 2 way ANOVA, MANOVA, MANCOVA, many things are there. For your basic understanding, I have given this much. Okay, you can explore in future, or we will conduct further classes in future. That time you can attend. So 1 way ANOVA, the equal non-parametric test is Russell-Wallace test. So that's the thing you have to understand. And few people, they have a very good data. The psychologists and many people, they have a wonderful data, but they are unable of choose the right statistics. Even the faculty member, they are unable to choose the right statistics. So let me help you in this regard. So if you are using the, how can we say, you have many number of variable, many dependent variable, and I don't know how to handle it. Especially management people, they don't know how to handle the data in terms of factor analysis and why it is needed, when it is needed. Please understand the need and go ahead with the required statistics. Yeah, let me explain. Discriminant analysis. In management, sometimes independent variable, they are metric in nature. It is a number. For an example, dependent variable is the selection of a tour. Those who want to go for a tour, yes or no. It depends on what. Okay, the preference to go to the tour, yes or no. It influenced by what? How many people are saying yes? How many people are saying no? Based on what? Based on their income, based on their age, based on their marital status or income. Because in the discriminant analysis, all the independent variables should be metric in nature. So this is the condition to choose the right variable for the right test. Okay. So independent variable all should be in number, like income, age, all these variables in numbers. Dependent variable is the choice for the tool, whether preference for the tool, yes or no. Dependent variable is categorical in nature. Then you can go ahead for the discriminant analysis, which you can do it in a SPSS. It is just opposite to the regression. In regression, independent variable, dependent variable, both are numeric in nature. Then only you can go ahead for the regression. And some other regressions are also available, like logistic regression. There are plenty of type. This is the basic type which I am sharing with you. You can explore the own thing. There are plenty of materials available to identify the what test. Okay, so in future, if possible, I will share with you. So now the basic things I am sharing with you. Some people, they are using the factor analysis. So why do we need to use it? To find the factors. You are exploring the factors, right? Then you have to go for the exploratory factor analysis, which is in the SPSS. So you have to say that I am exploring the new factors. Then it is called as the exploratory factor analysis, which can be used in the, which can be do it in the SPSS. Okay. Here mostly the variables are statements. The responses are metric in nature, number. For an example, Likert scale. You might have used the Likert scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Strongly agree, disagree. So like that, you might have the 5-point scale or 7-point scale or 9-point scale. So which can be, you can apply the exploratory factor analysis. Some people, they are saying that I have done the confirmatory factor analysis in SPSS. You cannot. If you want to confirm the factors, you have to run the confirmatory factor analysis. CFA, in many articles you have seen the word CFA. CFA can be only done using the softwares like AMOS or Smart PLS. What is that AMOS? Analysis of moment structure. It is like a software. IBM SPSS, another one is there, IBM AMOS. So using the AMOS you can do it. Or some other softwares called the Smart PLS, right? That nowadays people are using that Smart PLS very much for using the SEM or CFA, right? And one more tips I would like to give it to you. Usually we check only reliability, right? So reliability by using the SPSS you will do. How to do the validity? So validity also you can get it from the Smart PLS software. So for your understanding, go to the next one. To test the model, already you have a relationship. To find the relationship between more than one variable, more than one dependent variable, what usually people do, they will do the multiple regression. Means one independent variable, one dependent variable, one regression, then another one regression, another one regression. There are 2-3 regression they will do if you have more than one dependent variable. If you want to do it in regression, SPSS, that multiple different kind of regression you will do it and connect that using the path analysis. So path analysis can be done using the SPSS or AMOS, right? That you can do it, but to test the model. But you have to do regression in a different different times, multiple times. I'm not saying that multiple regression is different. um, Simple regression means one dependent, then simple regression. Multiple independent variable, only one dependent variable, then you can go ahead with the multiple regression. But here path analysis means multiple times of regression you can do it. The people do it for running the path analysis in SPSS. Don't make it complicated. Better you can go ahead with the path analysis in the AMOS or smart VLS. That is advisable. Finally, it's a magic word for the management people and psychologists and social workers, or many of them. Structural equation modeling, some model. I'm building a new model. I'm testing a model. If you want to build a model or test a model, you can use the AMOS or smart VLS. Okay. Better you can, based on the theoretical background only, we can say that whether you are building a new model or testing a model. Okay. For testing a model, you can go ahead with the AMOS. To build a new model, better you can go ahead with the smart VLS. There are different reasons are there. This is not the time to check all those things. So these are all the advanced level of statistics you can use it, which is called as a multivariate analysis. From the regression itself, the multivariate analysis starts. Okay. Yes. And this is the way to interpret results. Yes, sir, you have done all those things. In the hypothesis testing, I would like to end up with this. T-test results, you have to put a table like this, like what is the variable name, what is the attributes, mean. You should have the mean, standard deviation, and t-value, p-value, and significant level, like comparison or output you have to. What are the things I need to observe? Simply, you need to observe the end, p-value. Compare that p-value with 0.05, right? P-value is 0.008. You can get it from the SPSS. So you need to compare with the 0.05. So p is less than 0.05. Hence, I reject the null hypothesis. Or if you don't want technical terms like null hypothesis and all, if it is less than 0.05, there is a relationship, there is a significant difference, there is an association. Like that, you can explain. Okay. So here, there is a significant difference in the level of burnout of the women police living in joint family and nuclear family system. So this is the way to write, right? You have to elaborate. You should not make it simple. You should not complete it within 1 or 2 lines. You should write it more to make the layman to understand, right? So first point, to check the significant difference. If significant difference is there, one more thing. If there is no significant difference, you can say that women police officer from nuclear family or joint family, they have the equal level of burnout. That's it. You can end up the interpretation. Suppose there is a significant difference. Then another one question arises, right? Whether people from joint family having the higher level of burnout or nuclear family, they are having the higher level of burnout. To check that, please see the value of the mean value. Not the standard deviation value, check the mean value. Mean value is 2733, which is higher. So here it's a mistake. So you need to check it out, the mean value. Which mean value is higher, 27 or 33? 33 is higher. So people from the nuclear family, they have the higher level of burnout because there is no support like that. Okay. So using the mean value, you need to interpret which have the higher level of burnout. Okay. So this is the way to write the interpretation. Right. This is the model of structural equation modeling, independent variable. Then 2 dependent variables, the resilience and mental health. Just for your understanding, this is a very basic model, and you might have seen the many variables accommodated in the model. Right. This is a very basic model. And yeah, how to check the parametric and non-parametric? Let me give you one example and let me find out. Yeah, you can do a Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, like normality test using the SPSS. If your p-value, significant value, is less than 0.05, absence of normality, greater than 0.05, presence of normality. Don't get confused because it is just opposite to the normal hypothesis testing. For the assumption testing, that is different. For the hypothesis testing, that is different. As per the hypothesis testing, if it is less than 0.05, there is a relationship. Okay, at least you should keep this one only in your mind, right? See, p value is, our significant value is less than 0.05. There is a relationship. There is a significant difference. There is a association, like that. Yes, with this note, I wind up the session. If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask me. And the organizer, from the other post also, you can read some questions. We can answer for a few questions, and I would like to share with you all one thing. We will try to record this entire. I'm sorry for the inconvenience for we try to share the YouTube link also, but unfortunately it was not happen. Surely we will record this as a video and share with YouTube for your availability. You can go through that, and if you have any doubt, you can post it, and we will put it as a answers. We can put it in the another short videos. So we have a plan like that. So don't worry. Uh, if you have any doubts, as of now, you can ask me, and don't worry about the slides. Okay, for the clarification, surely we will put as a video in YouTube, and you can wait and you can watch. Okay, so don't worry about it. Yes. Now you can ask if you have any doubts or clarification, or you can give the feedback also. How was the session or suggestion to improve? You can give some feedbacks. Most welcome. So if you want, you can click this. You can take a snapshot of this.
Sir, actually,
Yes, sir.
suggestion is there.
Yes, sir.
By the stipulated time, you rush up that.
Yeah.
That is very fastly do the conversation. So,
Okay.
if a recorded section is available, now it's better for us
Better.
to
Yeah, sure,
understand.
sure. Yeah, thank you. At least during the recording session, I will go very slowly. That would be more better.
No,
So while I share the
this
record,
section we
doing the
can't able
recordings,
to
I will.
get it the recorded. This section.
Within 1 week, we surely we will share that. Don't worry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. We will do it for you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other queries or suggestions? Is that useful for you? The session? Yeah, there are other softwares also available. Some open source softwares are available, but it is the very simplest one, SPSS. So better I suggest go with the SPSS.